Yeah, look at that. You can see the butterflies flitting about, every blade of grass, the flowers there. Even just like the textures on all of the decaying architecture there, it all just looks so, so good. Welcome back to PlayStation Underground. What a privilege it is to be sitting here at Blue Point Games in Austin, Texas. I'm joined by Marco Thrush, the president of the company.
Hi.
Hey. And Peter Dalton, technical director on Shadow of the Colossus for PS4.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for being here, guys. Well, rather, thank you for letting us be here. This is quite a change for PlayStation Underground to be recording on location here. Super excited to be seeing Shadow of the Colossus. You can see already that this game just looks absolutely stunning. Such an upgrade from the PS2 version and the more recent PS3 version. Marco, I'd like to start by talking to you just about the project and kind of how far the company has come. What's it like now working on this massive overhaul, this new version rebuilt from the ground up for PS4?
It's a great opportunity. We're finally, over the different projects we've done over the years, finally grown to the point where we can finally take a project of this kind of scope on and actually do it justice. So it's really great.
Cool. And I should mention that we have our pal Russell here sitting on the floor next to us. He can't be seen on the camera, but sorry, Randall. Yeah, Randall is here. He's playing the game for us. He's piloting.
Whatever you call me is fine. Just don't call me Shirley.
Don't call you Shirley. Look, I've had one day to get everybody's names straight. I'm working on it. Randall is here, and he's driving. He is the producer on the project, and I got that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, great.
Nailed it.
So yeah, and we had some great chats earlier. He's going to carry us forward to victory with no deaths, no stumbles whatsoever. I'm going to make this game look absolutely perfect,
Flawless
which it already
gameplay.
does. Peter, I'd like to talk a little bit about the technical side, and I think that you're a good person to talk about that. This game is quite an upgrade from the original PS2 version of Shadow of the Colossus. How did we get from there to here?
You know, I think it's been a lot of fun, and when we had the opportunity to remaster the original for the PS3, it was much more of just bringing up textures and resolutions on a few things. And we've gone to the point now where we are basically remaking every single asset in the game. You look at the geometry and the detail that we've added to the environments and the atmosphere. It's a completely re-envisioning. It's trying to stay true to the original remaster of the game. From character animations to the physics to the water simulations to the particle systems.
Yeah, look at that. You can see the butterflies flitting about, every blade of grass, the flowers there. Even just like the textures on all of the decaying architecture there, it all just looks so, so good. See the waterfalls up there. Man, this looks incredible. So I think we're headed off to find one of the Colossi. Which one are we headed to right now?
We're headed to Colossus 8.
Colossus 8. So we're a ways. What's this? About halfway through
It's
the game
halfway,
now.
exactly.
Yep.
Cool. I will shamefully admit that I didn't make it this far when I played the game back on PS2. So I'm really looking forward to being able to experience this for myself and finally resolve one of my greatest gaming shames of never having finished Shadow of the Colossus.
Well,
okay,
we're glad to give you that opportunity.
So we see Wander climbing these pillars here. I remember hearing that the controls have been updated here. Marco, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we offer multiple control schemes. We offer the original control scheme for the original player, and that matches the PS2 and PS3 version. And we have a new one, which we consider to be better suited to new players that have never played any of the original games before. It's more traditional button mappings. In addition to that, all of the modes also received additional improvements to behavior of mounting aggro. I mean, there are so many small details you could list. I mean, Peter, like, what do you think are some of the most obvious ones?
Bow aiming. When you shine the sword on your light, making sure camera orientation and such are taken into consideration. Just minor touches and tweaks that the original didn't possess, but just makes the game feel a little more fluid as a player.
There's a lot of animation improvements done to the player package too, to get rid of pops and harsh transitions between animation and motions.
Yeah. How tempting was it to go in and further simplify the controls or add more modern niceties like being able to move around while aiming the bow and things like that?
So, any of the changes you pretty much just listed would be changes that would dramatically affect the way the game played. Our intent was never to change the way the game played. We didn't want to affect the difficulty of the game. Ideas such as removing a grip meter or allowing you to aim move while aiming the bow, to us would have been, like, those were actually items specifically we discussed, but there were items that we discounted because they would just change the way you play the game too much. And we didn't want to affect original players of the game to that kind of degree. We wanted to maintain the original intent of the game.
I think a great example is if you look at modern games these days, you can run and climb and grab onto walls and parkour with little thought, with just directional input on the joystick. One of the key aspects of this game is actually like holding R2 in order to hold and grip, and that sense of tension that brings. And to simplify and remove that would really lose an important essence of the original game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that there are some out there who would call you blasphemers for changing the game at all, right? Where do you draw the line?
It's pretty difficult. There's no way you can attempt a project of this scope and not make somebody unhappy.
Sure.
We're trying to do our best to minimize the people we do make unhappy by providing choices, like, for example, the classic mode for the controls.
Well, I feel like this is going to make a lot of people very happy.
Yes, I hope so, right?
A lot of people seem to be happy about it already from what we've seen. The game was only just revealed at E3, I think it was, right?
It was at E3,
And
yeah.
we're already so close to seeing a final product here. Oof.
It's okay.
You got this. You got this. You're good. You're good. Oh man, I'm getting caught up in this Colossus battle. Oh my goodness. I love the way that the symbols on the Colossus light wander when he's on top of them.
Yeah, it's the little touches. I mean, like the glowing legs themselves, they light up the environment too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh wow.
So that's the kind of stuff that you don't really like until you actually bring the game up on a PS4 and improve the quality of the graphics. A lot of those kind of details are things that just naturally are obvious that they're lacking.
Sure.
You play the game and it's like, man, it looks really weird that there's this bright glowing thing, but there's no light coming from it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
there's a lot of small touches that were things we didn't actually originally even think about that you had to actually get to the point of the game looking to this level to be able to even realize the things that were missing.
Yeah, well, I think that was even the reveal trailer at E3. That was maybe the most goosebump inducing moment, was that final shot of the panning camera around with him lit by the symbol, and then that final stab, and then the cut to black. Oh man, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's so good, getting tingly. Tell me a little bit more about some of the other technical improvements. Let's talk about the PS4 Pro features. We're actually playing this on PS4 Pro right now. We're seeing this game running at a 4K resolution. This is a cinematic mode, I believe it's called.
This is our cinematic mode that we offer. We did a lot of evaluations looking at different 4K rendering techniques. And we found that given the atmosphere of this game and the softness that the game's trying to bring in the mood, we implemented a 440p temporal alias. What? 1440, I'm sorry. All over the place.
Temporal aliasing, you said.
Temporal
Wow.
aliasing, upsampling, and so that gives it a much nicer feel, and and really helps with the image quality at the end.
Temporal aliasing. I feel like I heard that term thrown around when we were hearing about Ratchet and Clank. They used something similar, didn't
Yeah.
they?
They did.
Our technique for 4K rendering is very similar to the Ratchet and Clank method.
Yeah.
And it's a temporal super sampling is essentially what it is in this
yeah.
case.
Well, it looks absolutely stunning. There's also a performance mode. What does that entail?
So performance mode allows us to hit a targeted 60 FPS mode.
Oh, okay.
It allows you to have greater, it just feels a little bit smoother for the gaming purists that can appreciate an increased frame rate, can appreciate the extra motion fidelity and stuff that you get when you're battling the Colossi. So it's just a little extra punch to put the cherry on top.
Does it feel weird playing this game at a higher frame rate, or does that? Because I feel like this was, so many people remember this game in its original form, and obviously there's the, cinematic mode, which is kind of the, most beautiful way to play it. But
To me, I think it depends on the person you ask, which is exactly the reason why we actually give you the option to play either at the original frame rate targeting 30 or the new frame rate at the higher performance mode targeting 60, because some people will always prefer running at 30 FPS.
Sure.
If you give them 60 FPS, they will be unhappy. Then there's other people, you only give them 30 and they're 160. We give them the best of both worlds. Like, we have other options in the game for the exact same reason, being able to adjust the intensity of motion blur. Some people like motion blur, some people don't. So we always try to give people the choice.
Cool. So how much bigger of a project is this than when you remastered the game for PS3? Lots of thinking happening here.
It's a completely different exponential scale.
It's the original project was done with 2 QA internal on our end. We had majority of the team was programmers, and we had 1 artist touching up some textures.
And this is
And on
obviously
this
just
team-
completely rebuilt.
It's completely rebuilt from scratch. Every single asset, high-res scopes created, normal maps baked down, PBR textures created,
Man, yeah. So how?
Animation, physics systems,
animations updated,
Oh, wow.
water sims.
brand new particle systems created for every single particle effect. New
But-
particle systems added.
Yeah, but obviously you want it to evoke the same feeling of the original game. You don't want it to feel different. You want it to feel the same, but better. Like, it's such a weird, fine line you guys have to walk.
You want to take the original game and pretend that this team existed now, making this game for the PS4. Like, what would they have done?
Yeah, yeah.
I think at the same time, when people play the original, that you have this nostalgia and you have these memories, and your mind is filled in the gaps. When you look at a PS2 game and you're playing it, just because they've got a flat plane, you assume that, well, this is where the grass area is.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the hillside, and your mind sort of pieces it together. With the level of fidelity of graphics that we're hitting today, you can't just assume the player will make it up or piece in the gaps by themselves. And now it's our ability to go through and actually expose that and actually bring it to life.
Cool. So now we're wandering around the plains here. So we did see that was the 8th Colossus that we wrapped up there. I think that was, yeah. Nice work on that, Randall.
Thank you very much.
Right this time. So yeah, that is Shadow of the Colossus on PS4, running on a PS4 Pro in the beautiful new cinematic mode. Marco, Randall, Peter, thank you guys so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you wanted to say to the fans leading up to the launch of Shadow of the Colossus?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I hope you enjoy the blood and tears and sweat we put into this game. We're huge fans of the game ourselves. We hope you appreciate what we try to do for you to maintain this game for the new generations.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to play this for myself. Thank you for tuning into PlayStation Underground, and we'll see you next time.
PlayStation